Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3 weeks. What do I mean by the 3 weeks? The 3 weeks is a period of mourning that comes usually in the summertime, and that culminates with the fast of Tisha B'Av, the 9th day of Av, which is the saddest and blackest day on the Jewish calendar, because it is, according to our tradition, the saddest and blackest day in Jewish history. This day marks the destruction of the first and second temple in Jerusalem, as well as the expulsion of the Jews from Spain in 1492, as well as a number of other very, very sad events in our history, including apparently the first transports from the Warsaw Ghetto to Auschwitz, apparently also began on the 9th day of Av. So aside from the question of why so much negativity collects around this particular date in the Jewish calendar, is a larger consideration of the destructive aspect of life. And what do I mean by that? Well, there are 3 tendencies within life that actually help to propel growth and progress towards higher levels of evolution. And we're basically talking about the creative aspect, the destructive aspect, and then an aspect in between them, the aspect of stability, that helps to mediate between these two. And so anyone who studies Kabbalah would be able to recognize these 3 tendencies within the nature of God as depicted in the Kabbalah. God is an organism with a certain structure, and one sees that there is the column of creativity, there's the column of limitation or destruction, the column of balance and harmony that mediates between these two. So this is how God operates in our universe. And of course, any one of these aspects out of balance is not a good thing. Too much creativity, as we've discussed before, results in chaos. Too much stability results in stagnation. Too much destruction, of course, can't be a good thing. And yet, the 3 weeks is the time of year when we're asked to confront and perhaps even embrace this destructive aspect of life. It's summertime. It's the end of the growth cycle. It's the time when the sun beats down mercilessly on the face of the earth, and in the absence of water, there's a lot of destruction on the level of vegetation. Certainly, this time of year, for some reason, I don't know why, there have been quite a few funerals. And each time a person dies, of course, it's sad and sometimes tragic, but it is part of the whole spectrum of human experience, that there is birth, there is growth, there is deterioration, there is death. And while it's very, very difficult to celebrate a death, in fact, inappropriate, I think to a certain extent we have to be able to embrace the destructive aspect of life in order to be a whole human being. Certainly the Jewish calendar asks us to embrace the destructive aspect of Jewish history in order for us to be whole Jews, because that is as much a part of our history as the triumphant moments and the birth moments, the growth moments. We've also had many aspects of this destructive tendency in our history, and the funny thing about Jewish history is that each time there is a vast destruction, kind of like a forest fire, with the destruction of the trees providing the fertile soil for the new seeds to sprout. Jews also have had many periods in their history when we've had extraordinary creativity come after periods of destruction. You could say that even in our own experience with the Holocaust, probably the worst example of the destructive aspect of life in Jewish history ever, immediately following that was the birth of the State of Israel. Not that one caused the other necessarily, but certainly there's a very interesting connection that we've seen play out over and over again in our history, where destruction yields to creativity and new birth and new life. So we are going to be commemorating Tisha B'Av here in the synagogue in a couple of weeks. I invite you, of course, to join us for that, even though it will not be such a pleasant experience. It is a fast day, of course. And we'll be watching an episode of Herman Wouk's War and Remembrance, his brilliant work on the Second World War, an episode which actually depicts the train ride to Auschwitz of several of the characters in the story. And the story even takes us into the gas chamber and to the deaths of these people. So not pleasant to watch, certainly, but it can't be pushed to the boundaries of our awareness. It has to be part of our lives if we are to be wholly human and wholly Jewish. And so these are the 3 weeks. This is Tisha B'Av coming up soon. My request, my blessing, is that we learn to accept and embrace to a certain extent, not to reject this destructive aspect. It's what makes us who we are as human beings and as Jews. So again, I wish you Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully we'll get together soon here in the synagogue. Have a wonderful and warm and dry summer.